Welcome to this edition of Eyes on Naperville. Here's your host, Kevin Dolan.
Welcome to Eyes on Naperville. I have a very special guest, one I'm very proud to introduce, and I think all of Naperville will be too. You're going to find a little bit more about my guest, Nicki Anderson. Nicki is the president and CEO of the Chamber, relatively new, 6 months, that long? 4 months. 4 months. And doing a bang-up job, and there was a dinner just last Friday, and she had a chance to shine, and shine she did, and it was a wonderful dinner. So let's start about in the beginning. Welcome to the show, Nicki.
Thank you so much for having me, Kevin.
Let's talk about the beginning for you with Naperville. You didn't grow up here, but...
No, I did. We moved here in about 1962.
62.
And that's when I think there were maybe 7,000 or 8,000 people in Naperville. And I lived here through about 1972, and then I moved away for a little while, and then I came back in 1980.
Yeah, and we still have growth.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's just not the kind of place that's going to die off. I thought for years they'd start annexing all these other suburbs, like our biggest suburb, Chicago. I thought they'd take a chunk of that. But I still think there'll be some of that. So almost all of your life here in Naperville.
Yes.
And you've done more than Pilates and your reality fitness. A lot of people remember it from upstairs, your husband's drugstore, but then you moved to New Digs, and that was where? Or was that after you sold it?
No, it's still there. I sold it 2 years ago, and the owner is still above what used to be Oswald's, and now it's Ted's Montana Grill.
Yep, Ted's Montana Grill. So I noticed you're still keeping fit, so do you go to somebody else's fitness place now?
No, I'm a runner, so I go outside when the weather permits. If not, I have a treadmill in my basement. I'm kind of a loner. So I just stick in my house. Yep.
Another thing you could always do is join the North Central runners, because there's somebody from
There's
North
always
Central
somebody running
every
there.
day.
Yeah, there's always people running.
You have to worry about traffic and so on, because this is such a running town.
Yeah. There's a strong running population community. Yeah, which is great.
And don't we have a half marathon coming up soon?
We have the Naperville Half and Full Marathon coming back in November, which I'm very excited about. The Chamber is actually, and we'll get into that, but the Chamber is going to be doing, partnering with them, and in some ways, or just, supporting it in some ways. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, I can imagine that it might have gotten its start with the fact that North Central and Al Karras has, had all these championships right there, and kids come from all over the country to run at North Central, and they know there's going to be champions there. But it may have been a running town 20 years ago, for that matter, too.
Yeah, I'm sure. It just wasn't as popular. People didn't know about it as much, Like you look at the proliferation of like Naperville running, and now Chris Hartner has 2 stores, and there's another running store, I think, in Lyle, so, and I think another one, South Naperville. I mean, they're popping up. They didn't have that 20 years ago, so kind of interesting.
Interesting. I had the pleasure a couple of years ago, Nicki, some ladies came in from, golly darn, it's a town, a very advanced town in Colorado, above Denver.
Okay.
I can't think of the name of it, but anyway, they came to see how Naperville works. And it was my job. The mayor asked me if I would show them around and did different things and show them different places. What they were most impressed by was Don Worley's buses.
Oh, the trolleys. Yeah.
That just knocked them out.
Yeah.
They thought that was just terrific.
Yeah.
Went back to their town. There's a big school there, Colorado State or something. But anyway, sorry, I can't remember the name of it, and they started their own trolleys.
Yeah,
and
fantastic.
they were very grateful for Naperville having these. I don't know if we had them first, but we had them first around.
We'll say we did.
Now, our chamber has always been a 5-star chamber. I'm not even sure exactly what it means. I know it's accreditation, but who from the accreditation, and what exactly does 5-star mean? Well,
the 5-Star Chamber of Commerce is approved. It's put together by the United States Chamber of Commerce. It's a very, very rigorous program that you have to go through in order to get accredited. In fact, less than 2% of the chambers throughout the country do have 5-star accreditation. Basically what that means is that we've met certain criteria, meaning how our staff is run, how our board is run, how our CEO runs the business, how we interact with our members, the programs and the events that we offer our members. All of that is really taken into consideration with that process. And our political activity, which you know that the Naperville Area Chamber of Commerce is very, very strongly involved in the political world. We take that very seriously because it's really our job to be on top of any legislation that's coming past that might positively or negatively impact our businesses. And of course, you know, in the chamber we have a vast array of businesses, from the mom and pop shop to, you know, the major businesses like your Nicors or your BPs. So really it's our job from a political perspective to be on top of what the latest legislation is coming through and how it will impact, so that we can make the decision that will most positively affect our businesses and our chamber members.
You know, you mentioned a kind of a wide spectrum there, from mom and pop stores all the way up to the Nicors and Amico and so on. Where do the fantastic array of restaurants we have, where do they fit in? Are they somewhere in the middle? Or?
We have a lot of Naperville restaurants.
We have an uncanny amount.
Yeah, and many of them are members, I'm proud to say. You know, they love to support their community, and one of those supporting arms is the Chamber of Commerce, and they know that part of our focus is really bringing, you know, economic strength to the community. And of course, you know, if they advertise or, you know, are part of the chamber membership, people ask us all the time, what's a restaurant you'd recommend? And we just look through our directory and we recommend our chamber members.
Yeah, it's interesting. Anyone who's observed, I've been here 25 years, anyone who's observed, those restaurants that are so famous down on Taylor Street or somewhere downtown Chicago, who come out to Naperville, they're all still here. They're all still doing well. Portillo's and Catch 35 and just all of the wonderful restaurants that we have here. So Napervillians are known for not having to go to Chicago every weekend.
We're pretty lucky.
Because we have our own restaurantville out here. We have everything pretty much, and it's just great, especially now, being from St. Louis and grew up with Italian food, like any Irishman should. It's really great, the Italian restaurants we have in here. It's just terrific. Nice to know they're chamber members as well, of course. So we have a 5-star accreditation. That's been for some time, I think. Since
the latter 90s. Is when we became accredited, yeah.
Does that seem to influence some for prospective chamber members?
Well, the reality is that 63% of people are more likely to shop with someone who's a member of the Chamber of Commerce than someone who's not.
Okay.
So 5-star accreditation really does not probably mean that much to an average consumer. It might, you know, they might see it and wonder what it looks like and Google it. But the reality is, just being a chamber member shows a consumer that they take pride in their community, that they value their community and want to be a part of a prosperous business climate.
You know, I can remember back, Nicki, when you were just a runner around town and doing things not quite at the position you are now, when Chamber was above Malnati's. Actually, it was above the firehouse, and then it became Malnati's and up there. And I'm always reminded from my ex-partner in a business that I had, I said, Kevin, I got to remind you again, it's not a fruit stand anymore. You know, and the same thing with Chamber. From the little chamber up there to the magnificent chamber office we have now and so on. So we've seen its growth as well as the city of Naperville.
Absolutely.
And when I moved here, there were not as many people as there were either, you know, but it should grow. It's the kind of thing. Our Riverwalk is still rather famous. Maybe San Antonio has a little longer one, but more deep water than we have, and bigger boats, I guess, too. But it's still a relatively successful and happy Riverwalk where all kinds of people want to go down there, whether it's bike riders, runners, walkers, dogs, and all kinds of things. I've never imagined a town that has as many events as we do.
We do have, we have quite a community.
And the good thing, Nicki, they're not-for-profit. I mean, like our Exchange Club with Ribfest, and, you know, gaining somewhere from 800,000 to $1 million every year, and turning, and we brag about what we make, because it all goes back to the community, every penny. I'm youth director, and I get a certain amount for my youth scholarships, and everybody's got all the loaves and fishes, and all the one NCO or 360 Youth Services, all the good organizations that that get some of those, you know, those funds and so on. But Last Fling, same thing. On all the events, we have so many, and we're so blessed to have people who step up. This is a city of volunteers. It's got to be a champion city of volunteers.
Absolutely.
My gosh, that's something. Now, how often are chamber meetings, regular chamber meetings?
Well, our chamber is, you know, as you were saying, as the city has grown, so has our Chamber of Commerce. And the beauty of the chamber is that we have something for everyone. We have probably, I think we figured close to 400 events a year. And when I say events, that's everything from a committee meeting all the way up to our #1 signature event, which takes place in January, and that's our gala. That's when we swear in our new board members, and we bring over 500 people in our community together, including members as well as not members. So it's really one of my favorite events. Even when I was just a member and not working for the chamber, I always loved it because there were just so many people there. It was just a wonderful, wonderful event, a great way to celebrate your community. So we have, you know, our committees, we have things, we have teams. Basically what teams are a leads group. We have 10 teams. This year, so far, our teams have referred over $1 million worth of business between them, which is pretty impressive. Yes. We also have our ambassadors. They are, I joke with them and I say it's sort of like Walmart greeters of the chamber. Our ambassadors are everywhere and really an amazing backbone of the chamber. They volunteer their time. They're tireless in their support of the chamber. They attend all of our ribbon cuttings, our business before hours, after hours, our luncheons. They are really everywhere. So our ambassadors are really a strong piece of the chamber. All volunteers, what you were saying, strong volunteer community. We have lunch and learns where companies come in while our guests or our members eat lunch and they give a presentation, whether it's on financial investment, whether it's about marketing, how to best market your business. So it really is an opportunity to educate our members, which we feel is really, really important. And then we have our luncheons. We have our Women in Business. We have our Young Professional Network, YPN, which Jan and Bruce Erickson's daughter, Emily, is heading. So we're thrilled to have her in that role. So we have a lot going on and an amazing staff behind the scenes that really makes all of that happen.
Yeah, there's so many things. A large meeting, well, for example, the gala in January, but there's not a lot of large meetings. There's an awful lot of, well, you've broken down in teams, 10 teams. Each one has a different responsibility or a different
they're just businesses that get together to really refer business. Okay. 2 other events that you will know is one that you attended last week, which is our Small Business of the Year Awards. That's a great one. It's a wonderful way to really honor our businesses, both for and not-profit businesses in our community. Then we have our golf outing, which comes June 23rd. So we're very excited about that. We have probably about 300 golfers that come out, members as well as non-members, to participate, and it's a wonderful event.
Is it closed down yet, Nicki?
Nope, you can still get in.
Okay.
And I'm going to be putting for dollars.
Putting for
so,
dollars.
Yeah. So it should be really fun.
Where is the event this year?
This year it's at White Eagle Country Club, which that's typically where we have it. In the fall, in September, we've got our not-for-profit luncheon as a way to really honor all our not-for-profits, and that's just a wonderful event. You know, we can only do so much to thank our not-for-profits. And one of the things that we've done in the chamber that's really wonderful is our teams actually adopt a not-for-profit every year. They pick the teams pick a new not-for-profit. So that's a wonderful way to really engage our businesses with our not-for-profit community. So we're very proud of that. In October, we have our economic forecast. So that is everybody comes together to learn about where we are as far as our economic climate goes. And Calamos does a great job of sponsoring that. We have world-renowned speakers that come in. Terry Savage comes to speak. So it's a top-notch group that really helps us understand where we're going from a financial perspective. So that's a strong one. We really like that. And then State of the City, that's where our mayor, oh my gosh, we're going to miss that. We're going to miss that. And we usually do that in February. And so, you know, he may not be, that will probably be his last State of the City that he'll have. And we have our representatives from all over DuPage, Will, and Cook County and Kane County that really come in representing their districts. And we learn about where we are as a community, as a state, as a region, and that's one that we have a lot of attendance at that one too. It's a real popular one. So those are our big events. And it's just a wonderful way to bring members together with non-members as well. So it's not just for members.
Speaking of region, what would that be? State of Illinois, or
yeah, I would say, you've got your southwest suburbs, your northwest suburbs. I mean, we reach out to Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce. I mean, when we have an opportunity to all work together, we do. But this is what our representatives, our state representatives, our congressmen, our senators, they will come to this event. It is one worth visiting. So,
as being a small part of RibFest every year, I'm very impressed with one thing. We have the balloons, of course. There's show sponsorship and signs all around the fences and everything like that. And what those represent are people who care, businesses who care about RibFest, only if for no other reason, because they know where the money's going,
Right.
But the enthusiasm that we generate to those sponsors. Those sponsors drive events.
We couldn't have it without them.
In this town, we're lucky. We're all of us. All of us are fortunate. Whether you're connected with a not-for-profit or not, we know where the money's going. I guess organizations, the not-for-profits like Loaves and Fishes and all these, can do well. I'm not going to say thrive, but do well out here because there's so many people interested in their welfare.
Absolutely. Yep, a lot of support, a lot of volunteer support. Absolutely, which makes it great.
It's not just RibFest and Last Flang, but there's the bottom. What's the bottoms up ball? I've never attended it. The one that's in the swimming in.
Oh, when they have it at Centennial Beach. That one, when they have that one,
Yeah, I think Mary Lou Worley
started that, I think. She probably would say with a team of other people, but she comes to mind as someone who started it.
She's pretty smart when it comes to individual items to invent and create. So you have teams, and the teams then meet more often than would the chamber?
Well, basically the teams meet twice a month.
Okay.
And really what they are just businesses coming together to refer business to one another. Our committees are a little bit different because we have like our Women in Business Committee. So on the first, this is Wednesday, the first Wednesday of each month, we have our Women in Business meetings. So we have to have a committee that plans out the speakers, who's coming, what the events are going to look like, and we have that once a month. So that's a committee. We have our ambassadors, which I shared with you earlier, and they meet. I would surmise that they probably meet on a weekly basis, but they probably meet monthly. But just because they're so active, they probably
Nicki,
meet.
Are many of those, certainly not all, but are many of those retired folk?
Some are. Yeah, we have some people that are.
So there's life after work.
There absolutely is life after work. Yes,
I know that all too well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's terrific. And for my audience that should know, this was one of our featured dancers in Dancing with the Celebrities, and we enjoyed having that. You and Bill.
That was a lot of work. I loved it.
I understand that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the word's starting to get around. Kim and I are having a little problem talking some into it because they hear, hey, that's a lot of work, man. You got to meet with your dancing partner, and
Here's the way I look at it. The people that you ask are typically leaders or risk takers.
Absolutely.
They get the job done. And for me, I really took it as a challenge. And I love a challenge. And it was one that I loved it. It was hard work, there's no doubt, but it was such a great experience, and it really challenged my mind. That's what was so interesting. You think dancing, how hard can it be? But I used to joke with my dance instructor all the time and say to him, I said, look, this 50-year-old mind does not think like it did 30 years ago, and just having to remember the steps. And he was so patient with me. But I think from a mental standpoint, it was a wonderful exercise, more than just a physical one. It was really a mental one.
Yeah, that's what Marcy said also. She appreciated she wasn't looking for exposure, certainly, or anything like that. She's got a very important job.
Center.
Who spends an awful lot of time at it, and she's very successful at it. But she liked the challenge, and she liked the fact where the money was going.
Yep.
And our organization, Community Career Center, we help get people jobs. And in Naperville, like anywhere else in Illinois, that's pretty important.
Absolutely, it's very important.
So we're still driven by that need that's still out there.
I refer people to you whenever because of course they call the chamber, looking for a job. And I always refer them to the Community Career Center.
Nicki, at one point, our chamber your chamber, our chamber, was one of the largest in the state of Illinois. I don't know if that's true anymore, because it isn't just like people joining up. It goes along with what's going on in the economy.
Sure, it fluctuates from an economic standpoint, sure. In fact, it's kind of interesting from a historical standpoint. Back in 1927, I think they were charging $5 for a membership. And in 1930, obviously, after the Depression hit, they lowered it to $2.50. Okay. And they were offering free electricity if you joined with the city of Naperville. So kind of a little bit of history.
In the 30s.
Yeah, in the 30s. And then after the Depression, you know, they started rising up again. And I think in 1937, they raised their rates to $25 for a business and $5 for an individual. Yeah. So kind of cute. Yeah.
Well, but we know where that money goes to. The Chamber is a very unique organization and does need funds just like anybody does.
Yep, we are a not-for-profit. People don't realize that. Okay. We're a 501c6, not a 501c3, and the difference is that, like Loaves and Fishes is or 360 Youth Services, they're a 501c3. They're a charitable organization. We're a service organization. So it's a little bit different, but we are a not-for-profit. As far as our members, of course, it fluctuates from an economic standpoint. We are the largest suburban chamber in Illinois. I know, you know, Chicago, I think, might have more than we do. I'm not sure. But I'm comfortable in saying we're the largest suburban chamber in Illinois, and we have just some absolutely incredible members. And really my goal in this role is to really reach out and engage our members. I think we were talking earlier and I said, you know, it's not so much about the quantity of members that you have, but really the quality. I liken it, you know, it's kind of funny, to a health club membership. I don't want people just spending their money and never showing up. That does not fulfill my mission. My mission is to have people pay and be engaged so that we can help each other. If I help them, they're helping support the chamber, which ultimately supports the community. So it really is a win-win. It's just a matter of effectively communicating how we can support each other. So that's really my role, is to get people involved, get people engaged, and I have staff members who really, that's their job now, is to simply reach out to members, whether they're brand new or they've been members for 6 months or 6 years. I've started something new called 12 at 12. And basically what it is I invite 4 new members, 4 mid-level members, maybe 7 to 10 years, and then 4 old members to join me for lunch. And it's a way that I can reach out and connect with them and say, tell me everything and anything about the chamber. The good, the bad, the ugly. I want to hear it, because the only way that I can do my job better is to listen to you and find out what we're missing.
So you've been at these meetings.
I just had my first one.
So is there a lot of interplay?
It's wonderful.
I mean, the older members are trading off and getting information as well as giving it?
Well, you know, the interesting thing is, just because you've been a member for 20 years doesn't necessarily mean you've been engaged. Sometimes what happens is people get so immersed into their business that they really forget about the importance of being engaged. So this is a wonderful way to kind of bring out those people again and say, here's a wonderful way to be engaged, to hear your voice. And it kind of strikes their interest, because there's probably new things at the chamber that weren't there before. So it's really a wonderful opportunity to bring that new energy to some of our older members, and it really melds well.
I don't think Naperville's Chamber of Commerce needs any ringing endorsement from me, but I will say this, that I know of a lot of national companies, international for that matter, that have come to Naperville, and if they come here, they're impressed. They're knocked out. But they hear about Naperville from so many of our top rankings, you know, and library and oh gee, run by a few for me, please.
Yeah, the school district.
School district, library, so many that we're leaders in, and oh well, whatever it's called, but greatest place to raise children. Right. And now we were just named the best place for college graduates after graduation. It's the best place for them to get a job. So I thought that was really interesting. Yeah. So they have a lot of reasons, but if they come here, they're impressed. They have to be. They have to see what they're. As far as food, anything they want, Oriental, Italian, German, we have just about all of ethnic restaurants here, and they all do well. And we've certainly got our share of barbecue and everything else, even great hamburgers. You know, so it's really fun, and it's exciting to see the growth, and it will still be growth. There is still room for Naperville to grow? physically?
That's probably a question that you'd have to ask our city manager. You know, I think what's exciting is we have two big projects coming in. We've got the new Main Street Promenade East, which is getting close to being ready to open by fall. I think the stores will be opening and ready. We've got some great stores that are coming in. And then we also have Water Street. We'll have, you know, the Indigo Hotel coming in. We've got a restaurant coming in there. It'll be a wonderful little, a unique piece of Naperville. And I think that's what makes Naperville wonderful, is that you have this combination of these big businesses, but we never forget our small independent businesses as well as the not-for-profits. So it's a really wonderful meld of the business community here in Naperville.
Speaking of Water Street, I know you're excited, and you just have to be. Now, my close friend Chuck Corrigan is one of the attorneys that had to move, you know.
Yeah, so
however, they moved closer to downtown, and they've got a lot of room, and they're happy.
Yeah.
But when I first heard that, you're moving? What?
Yes.
And then what's going to be there? I think that's going to be exciting. I hope it turns into, and I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn, but sort of a convention center, because we would like to have that too. So, my gosh, it's certainly going to be centrally located.
Yeah. It will be it will be small. That's why I say a little boutique. Where our convention center, not really a convention center, but a larger capacity, is Embassy Suites that's coming out on 88 Corridor, and that will be able to house as many as 1,000 people. Because you know, having events, sometimes it's so hard to find venues that can support 500, 600, 700 people. That's always been a challenge here in our community. So we do our best to support our local, you know, hotels. And the Indigo and where Water Street's going to be, I think they might be able to support like 250 or 300 people, which is lovely for small events, maybe, you know, wedding receptions or things like that. But it's really going to be a very boutique-y area, which I think will bring a really unique twist to Naperville. Yeah,
awfully close to, maybe too close to City Hall, but I guess that'll work out.
Yeah, well, people will behave themselves there then, right?
Let's hope so. But certainly locale, that's just dynamite.
Yep.
God, right in the middle of all the restaurants and right off the Riverwalk.
It's perfect.
And like right next to City Hall.
And you figure you've got North Central College. When graduations are here, you know, you might have some people that choose, you know, to stay there a little bit closer to home. So I think it will benefit a lot of people. Not that we don't have wonderful hotels that I'm sure keep themselves busy, but this is just a lovely addition.
And a little bit of a side, Nicki, but North Central College has got to be a tremendous asset to
Absolutely.
Naperville.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, from your standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I have the luxury of living right in the heart of North Central College town, and I get to see, you know, the kids every year. We've lived there for over 20 years, and we see the kids, and what we are looking forward to is partnering and perhaps working with some of their students for interns. And we haven't done that yet. So I think we might have done it many, many years ago, but I'm looking forward because they are wonderful. North Central is always looking for ways to help.
And I know where Bill's mom and dad live. They're really in the heart of it.
We live right by them.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, they're our neighbors.
They're
our
lovely
neighbors.
folks, and I've been in their home, and it's your friend.
Yeah.
Nicki, I can't believe this 2 hours has been this quick. It's gone this quick, you know. It was 2 hours, wasn't it? Well, thank you so much, Nicki.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
Pleasure having you.
It was great.
Much luck with the chamber and the future.
Thank you.
And I didn't ask much about the future, but I can guarantee our audience there is a future with Nicki Anderson heading it up. Nicki, thank you again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We'll see you next month. Thank you very much.